I have made over 1,370 Spore creations, and today, why did I say it like that? And today, I'm gonna challenge myself to make what I call dinosharks. Literal hybrids of sharks and dinosaurs. Why? Because it's literally the coolest thing ever. The literal two coolest things ever. Alright, so let's get started. First off, I'm gonna do Lurdosaurus, aka my favorite and representative dinosaur, and the frilled shark. Why? Well, these two are actually that similar, and it's definitely not the two most fitting creatures to combine. They actually don't have much in common, but they do have one thing in common, is that they are both my favorites. My favorite dinosaur and my favorite shark, so that's why I'm combining them. Naturally, I'm using my already made Lurdosaurus as a base for this one, so I don't have to do it from scratch all over again. And I decided to change the head into a frilled shark head, because although I really like the Lurdosaurus head, I mean, sharks just have cool mouths. I couldn't just not give it a shark mouth for this one. That's the main reason why I like frilled sharks. I did decide to keep my snout spikes, however, something that the real Lurdosaurus might not have had. There's no evidence of it, but it's a nice, neat little bit of speculation. Now you can see me absolutely extending the heck out of that tail and adding the fins. On this Sharkosaur, I actually was doing the fins with this modded part right here that is actually very similar to a vanilla part. But as I go, I am going to find out a better method to do all of these fins and all of these fleshy bits that sharks have. So yeah, I also placed the flippers on the back legs as well. I did, however, have to slim down the Lurdosaurus, which was a little bit painful because, well, you never want a skinny Lurdosaurus, but to be honest, that's what frilled sharks look like. They are very snakish, if that's even a word. And when it came down to the colors, I decided to give it a red accent color instead of my usual blue, and I made the rest of the body this grayish brown color. I changed the patterns around a little bit, and this is what it ended up looking like. And I absolutely love this. It's literally my two favorite things combined, and it's epic. I love them. Also, there's Loki already fan art of this thing, so yeah, shout out to Comic. This is sick. You're the GOAT, bro, genuinely. Alright, time for the next Dino Shark. Now, this one was a suggestion, as will be literally all of these, because I should have mentioned these are all of the suggestions that you guys gave me in the submissions channel of my Discord server. Some of these were OCs and original designs made specifically for the video, and some of these are literally just suggestions of a shark and a dinosaur, which is the case right now, actually, as Cube suggested, the Helicoprion, aka an extinct genus of shark, with the Pegomastax. Genuinely, what a cool lineup, because the two of them have very fucked up faces, and as someone with a really fucked up face, I felt inclined to spore this little guy. Now, as you can see, I started with the Pegomastax body. I slapped some fins on the tail, and instead of having arms, I also did fins. But the fun part came when it was actually time to try and figure out a head for this thing. I knew I definitely wanted to keep the snout because, well, you can't have a Helicoprion without keeping the mouth, but I also wanted to keep some of the crests and weird things that the Pegomastax has all over its face. So I gave it the cheekbones, I gave it some of the little crests and osteoderms, and then came time for the Sawmouth, which was actually really fun and easy to make, surprisingly. I just had to place the saw piece that Spore already has, believe it or not. Detailing the mouth a little bit more, I decided to give it the beak, but only on the upper part, because why not? I don't know. And then the teeth that give Incisivosaurus its name. I decided to place them literally right on the two edges of the saw, and then I placed them on the upper part as well. Now, this is obviously not a real Spore mouth, it's fake, so this wouldn't be a playable creature, but who cares? It looks really fucking cool. And then I finished it off with the fin on the back, and now it was time for the colors. Actually, I lied. Me when I literally lie. Okay, no, I added, I added 6 gills and also, proto feathers. Elon Musk.
I love you!
And then came time for the colors, which I actually decided to keep pretty simple. So this is the result. Wow, I didn't mean to scare you there. This is the Helomastax, and I'm actually really happy with how it came out. I especially love the incredibly fucked up face. I mean, this is a face only a mother could love, truly. He is so ugly. I love him for that, though. He is genuinely so ugly. but he's perfect in my eyes. Scrap that, not perfect. A good like 9 out of 10 on this one. Also, I didn't rank the frilled Lurdosaurus. That one's a 10 out of 10. Fucking love that thing. This guy, however, I don't know. I think the colors could have maybe come out better. I do like the frosted tips, I guess you could call them, on some of the quills. I don't know. He's a little smudgy. He's a little smudgy, I'll say. But I like him. He's cool. He's pretty cool. Let me know down below if you like him more than I do, and if you want to adopt him. He does not have a mother. Now, the next Dino Shark is not one that I actually enjoyed the result, okay? So, this one was Robert's suggestion. Fuck you, Robert, first and foremost. And it is a Eutyrannus blacktip reef shark hybrid, which sounds really cool in theory, but the problem with this is, well, I had already made Robert's Eutyrannus in SPORE, because I'm friends with Robert, and he was just really stinky. I told him, hey, if I make your thing in SPORE, will you like brush your teeth for once, shower a little bit? He's like, maybe. I'm like, I'll take my chances. He didn't actually though. But yeah, so I already had the perfect base, but the reason why I didn't like the way this came out is because the colors didn't actually come out good by the end of this. And this also had the problem of me using the default little shark fins as shark fins. Like, as much as, wow, holy stutter, as much as these are supposed to be shark fins, they don't really look that great as shark fins unless you're using it strictly for a dorsal fin. This is when I really figured out that, hey, these are not going to be able to do. For all the 3 next dino sharks, I'm going to have to figure out a different method. So the reason why I don't actually like this one is because this was before I figured out said method, which you'll find out about in the next Dino Shark. But aside from that, this did have that weird problem of the colors not coming out that great. So, although I do like Robert's design, I did not do a good job recreating it in SPORE, and that's why I don't love it as much as the other Dino Sharks. I hope you'll understand it, Robert. And please, for the love of God, shower! You stinky motherfucker. Robert's slander aside, however, we move on to the next shark, which was suggested to me by Hearts, one of my favorite artists of all time, by the way. He made this beautiful art of a goblin shark baryonyx, which is absolutely insanely fitting, as they both have the really long jaws. And also baryonyx being semi-aquatic means it's kind of like halfway there already. Love this design, by the way. So, this was where we peaked with the Dino Sharks on this video. The 2 next ones, don't get me wrong, they are really good, but this right here is my favorite. And being the #1 Lurdosaurus fan in the world, you know it's gotta be good to be able to beat my favorite shark and favorite dinosaur, right? Making this design was made very easy for the simple fact that one of the modded heads that I have in my game, courtesy of the Vala Vanilla style parts mod, is able to stretch with the slider and literally turn into a goblin shark head, which is genuinely so amazing. This is genius. I highly recommend this mod. So that was pretty much the hardest part already done. If you're asking yourself why didn't I just do this on the Hello Mastax thing, it's because I needed the bottom job to be different, so I had to make it from scratch. I couldn't have just done this, otherwise I would have. But one of the details I like the most about baryonyx is the big claw. Yes, obviously, baryonyx literally means heavy claw. So you already know I had to go in with a little bit of a custom hand there to give it a really big, pointy, Freddy Krueger-ass hand, molesty finger. It was for this baryonyx also that I came up with the idea of adding a little recoloring bit under the gill piece and then making that little piece a different color, in this case red, to make it look like it was the inside of the fish, which is really cool actually. I really love how that turned out. It was also on this guy that I straight up gave up on trying to use these vanilla ass SPORE parts to make the fins. I had a huge wrinkly brain moment and I decided to use these parts here that are from a mod made for wings. Yes, these are supposed to be the membranes that sit between a creature's wings when you need to make custom wings. But they do genuinely such an amazing job at making all of these fins because look at the amount of customization that they have. This is genuinely so goated because I can turn them into pretty much any shape that I like, which made placing all of these different fins, which are really complicated shapes, very easy. And I absolutely love the way it turned out. So this is the finished Goblionix. I love the way this thing turned out. It is an absolute 10 out of 10 again. I know I said that for the frilled Lordosaurus as well, but this thing is just one tiny step above it, and I honestly don't think I would change anything about either, but I like this one more. You did an amazing job, Hearts, and it translated very well into Spore. Next, we have Fawn's idea. This is Neri the Ocean Spirit, and right off the bat, I love that you decided to give it like an actual name, and calling it the Ocean Spirit gets some sort of like Avatar vibes from this thing or something, especially from the fact that it's blue. I don't know. I really like the fact that you made it into an actual character and everything. And she is a mixture of a Ceratosaurus and a whale shark. Now, you might have missed what I just did there, but that's actually a really old sport technique that I personally learned from Dark Edge TV, which is to make a creature a lot longer than the normal spore limit would allow. You place an arm at the very end of the spine, and then by holding control on the keyboard, you can snap a pair of legs with feet, which means that that arm is now locked in place and you can extend the spine into it, blending it perfectly and making a beautiful tail for your creature, which is definitely very useful for creatures like the dinosharks because they tend to be very long. Now, another detail that I really like about the Ceratosaurus is the little whale shark thingy on the mouth. I don't know what that's called, but it just scratches my brain in the perfect way when I look at that. And also the horns on this thing. They turned out really cool. I really like how they turned out. The whole skull, in fact, looks very Ceratosaurus to me. I'm very proud of how I did it. Obviously, as I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to try not to mention it every time because it might get repetitive. But every time you see me using these orange parts, they are from the Cambion Color Pack mod, and they are recoloring bits. They look orange, but they take on to whatever color the creature ends up having. Then for the hands, not a lot of people know this, but Ceratosaurus actually had 4 digits, so I gave it a 3-clawed hand and then just gave it another claw. Maybe you got a little bit lazy, but since we're going to put a fin there anyway, you won't be able to tell that much by the end. And then for every other fin on this thing, I used the method that I learned on the Goblionix, which is to use the little wing membrane parts. I just had a brain fart. And it turned out looking very, very good at the end. Now, what I did struggle a little bit with this design was getting a color pattern that would make the spots on the whale shark actually look good on this thing, because they're not just completely random. And every time I chose a pattern that was random, it kind of just got all over the place. And at the end of the day, I had to settle with this pattern that didn't actually follow the spots all the way down the tail, which if it did, would have looked so much better. But unfortunately, I just couldn't find something that wasn't too messy. So, so this is what I had to this is what I had to settle in. Oh my god. Anyhow, this is how Neri the Ocean Spirit turned out in Spore. Shout out to Fawn for coming up with this amazing design, which I loved making in Spore. The result is honestly really good. I would give this one probably a 9.5 out of 10. I think I could have made the actual body of the Ceratosaurus a little bit bulkier because it does look a little bit lean. Maybe the neck is too long. I can't quite put my finger. It's a very minor little nitpick. And I actually really enjoy how this turned out. So for the next Dino Shark, I'm actually using Neri the Ocean Spirit as a base. Not just because she turned out really good, but because the next one is actually very similar to her. It is another carnivorous theropod dinosaur. Now this one is by far the most controversial entry of the entire video because, as you already know, these were all sent to me in the Discord server. But as if picking your designs wasn't enough, since I decided to make a whopping 6 Dino Sharks for this video, I thought I'd let you guys decide the last one as well, instead of picking it myself like I did all the others. And oh boy, did you guys take this seriously. I basically let everybody in my Discord server vote for whichever Dino Shark they wanted, and then at the end, I took the 3 most voted options and made it into a poll. This turned into a literal presidential vote by the end of it, and people were going insane. My entire Discord server was divided into 2, as the 2 most chosen options being the Greenland Shark Deinonychus hybrid by Floof, and this one, which ended up being the winner by red, were dividing the whole server. People were fighting, people were cursing each other out. This was not pretty, and the entire time I was laid back watching my server burn down, and it was literally the most entertainment I have gotten of that entire Discord server since it's been made. Literally, it was so fucking funny. And then people were making presidential promises. Oh, if you vote for me, I will draw your character. I will literally draw every single person who votes for me. This went really crazy. But at the end, red was the actual winner. And I'm going to be honest, this is not the one I wanted to win. I voted for the Deinonychus because Christ almighty, this thing is packed full of detail. And the problem with this is that when something has this much detail, I am going to be honest, I get a little scared of making it in Spore. Not because I don't like adding all of this detail, all of this pattern on the fins and everything is genuinely really fun to make. But as you know, Spore has always had a part limit, right? And with mods, you can remove the complexity meter, meaning that part limit is no longer enforced. But don't get me wrong, it is absolutely still there, because if you go over it, your creature stops moving and it simply will not be saved into your Sporepedia, and you will basically just lose it, right? And that's something you never want to happen with a creature, especially after you've just spent so long making it. So I had to sacrifice a lot of detail for Tau, and at the end, I don't think it looks as good as the original design does. Don't get me wrong, if you put the two side by side, I would definitely be able to recognize, but I just don't think I did the best job choosing which detail I should keep and which detail it should go, because the original is just so iconic, and this one just looks like a poopied version. And that's because the patterns on the body are just really complicated, and you know, it's so original that Spore just doesn't have anything like that. On the side, you have these really cool white patterns, almost like drawings, almost like these symbols. They're so cool looking, and I tried to replicate that in Spore, but I genuinely could not find a way to get it to look right. The fins also have so much detail on the original, so much cool pattern. They almost look like these butterfly wings, and it simply didn't come out that great in Spore, which is a shame. So I apologize to Red for not being able to make your dinosaur in the best way possible. I know you definitely really wanted to win, but by all means, tell me what you guys think of Tau, the Megalosaurus. And I'm probably gonna give this one, I think, a 7 out of 10. It's not average because the amount of detail that I had to replicate is kind of insane, but it's also not really above average or not too crazy above average because I don't know. I can't shake off this feeling that it just looks like a bootleg or like a poopy version of the original, unfortunately. But that's gonna be it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed all the Dino Shark designs in the video. As always, if we get to 1,000 likes on this video, I will do a part 2. And I'm hoping this one does, because making Dino Sharks in Spore is a lot of fun. If you want to know my ranking out of the 6 designs that we made in the video, this is it. And make sure to join the Discord server so you can participate in future videos like these. Also, huge shout out to everyone who made Dino Shark art for the video. Unfortunately, there were just way too many submissions and I couldn't make every single one of them, but I'm gonna put all of your art scrolling by across the screen right now so we can take a look at them and appreciate all the amazing Dino Shark designs that you guys came up with. So shout out to everyone who decided to participate, and that's gonna be it for today. Fuck you, Robert.